Those of you who are familiar with LeftBrainLogic know that historically we've built tools that allows Excel to seamlessly communicate with QuickBooks Desktop. Today I want to introduce you to our newest product, which now allows Excel to communicate directly with QuickBooks Online. To access our tools for QuickBooks Online, you can go directly to online.leftbrainlogic.com. Initially, this will take you to a login screen, and if you don't have an account yet, you can just click the link to register, which will walk you through a pretty standard process of setting up an account. One thing to note, since this tool does work with sensitive financial information, as you're setting up an account, you will be required to use an authenticator app like Google Authenticator or Microsoft Authenticator to set up two-factor authentication. And every time you log into online.leftbrainlogic.com, you'll need to go through that two-factor authentication process using, again, that authenticator app. Any authenticator app will do, but like I said, Microsoft and Google each have one that's free that you can use. I've gone ahead and logged in, and here you see the dashboard for the LeftBrainLogic Online tools. You'll notice there's two sections, one for active online subscriptions. This section is for any subscriptions that you've signed up for. And there's also a section for available online subscriptions, which are any tools that are available that you have not yet signed up for. Right now, the only tool that I'm showing on here is the journal entry or the journal entry import tool, which allows you to import journal entries into QuickBooks Online. This is the one we're going to be working with just to show you how the tools for QuickBooks Online works. First of all, you have two options for any of the products that are available. You can either just buy it, which everything is going to be a subscription-based purchase, or you can do a free trial. The free trial is a fully functional version of the tool, but it is limited on how many rows you can submit. I'm going to go ahead and select the free trial, which will move this product from available subscriptions to the active online subscriptions section. Now you see listed under active online is this JE Import Online tool, which now has the ability to connect to a QuickBooks company file. You'll also notice that every active subscription has an Excel tool that's listed here. The Excel tool is what allows you to, it's the product that sits on your local desktop that you use to build, in this case, a journal entry and then push it to QuickBooks Online. This is probably a good point to talk to you a little bit about how these tools for QuickBooks Online work. Each tool has an Excel component and a QuickBooks Online link. When you're using these tools, you'll need to download the Excel tool that's related to whatever subscription you signed up for. In this case, it's the JE Import Online tool. The Excel tool that you download, which I'll open up in just a minute, is the local Excel file that you'll be using for, in this case, to build journal entries. So you use that Excel tool to build your journal entry, and then when you're ready, you can push a button and it pushes that journal entry through the LeftBrainLogic system into your QuickBooks Online company file. We'll talk a little bit about this access code later. This code or key is what allows the Excel tool to communicate with your company file. It's the link that goes through this system and into your QuickBooks Online company file. The next step is just to connect to your QuickBooks Online company. To do that, just click the button, which will open up the Intuit login process. You can go ahead and just log in using your normal QuickBooks company login. If you happen to have access to multiple companies with your login, you can select which of those companies you want attached to this particular subscription of LeftBrainLogic tools. You can have as many subscriptions as you would like, each of them potentially pointing to a different company file. I'll just go ahead and log in now and connect this subscription to my company file. I've now completed the Intuit login process and attached this subscription to my QuickBooks Online company file, this sample company. You'll also note that it's a trial version still. If you want to move that from a trial to a fully supported version, you just click the purchase button and it'll take you through that process to subscribe to that service. Now I'm going to download the desktop tool that is attached to this subscription by clicking the download button. You can put in your email address. I'm just going to use support@leftbrainlogic.com and send that request to my email. Okay, so I've now followed the link that I received through my email, which takes you to the download page. This is probably a good time to talk about macros and our Excel files that are used with LeftBrainLogic. Historically, we actually installed a product on your workstation that didn't require macros, but in more recent versions, we've moved over to using macros. The biggest reason for that is it just allows us to just give you a lot lighter of a product, meaning you don't have to install something on your workstation and then have it attached to Excel. It's just built right in the file itself, which this way we can provide you with an Excel file and it has everything built into that Excel file to, in this case, communicate with QuickBooks Online. So that's why we moved that way. But just like any installed products, macros can also be used by bad actors to introduce things like viruses on your computer. So you should be very aware of the risks associated with it. Generally, bad actors, again, use Excel macros as a way to introduce those things because generally people feel like an Excel file is safe. So Microsoft is actually they've taken quite a few steps recently or in the last couple years to make you aware of macros that are included with Excel files and then requires you to enable and mark or basically unblock those macros so that they can run on your workstation. Mostly to make sure that the user is very aware that macros exist before they just open them up. So just a general warning, anytime you download an Excel file from an online source, you should be very comfortable and accept the risks that come with running those macros, and you should make sure you trust that provider. Now we've done a couple things to make sure that you can trust the products that we sell. If you follow the link on this download page, we have a page that will kind of walks you through macros, encourages you to do your own due diligence, make sure we're not asking for you to trust us. If you don't trust online sources, don't download and run our product or anyone else that you don't trust. But we've taken a few steps to make sure that you know that the product is coming from us. We digitally sign all of our Excel workbooks so that you know that code was last edited by us. And that a third party hasn't somehow edited that and is using it to introduce any kind of virus or other unknown items to your computer. So I encourage everyone to make sure that anytime they download one of our tools, to follow these instructions and confirm that macro is signed by LeftBrainLogic. There's also a link here to Microsoft's webpage, which walks you through, one, it again reviews the risks associated with running macros on your computer, and then walks you through the process of enabling those and unblocking the macros so that you can run them on your workstation, which is required if you're going to use any of our tools. I've now downloaded that Excel tool and opened it up, and I've enabled the macros so it's ready to now communicate with QuickBooks Online. I want to just point out just a couple things. This video again is intended to be more of a basic explanation that covers all of our products, but as I'm downloading the journal entry tool, I'll explain a few basics of this tool specifically. One, all of our tools will generally have 3 tabs. You're going to have an info tab, which will go through some basic instructions and how it works. So again, this is a good place to go through how the spreadsheet works, make sure you understand that, and the steps to get it to work as you'd like. It also includes the end user license agreement, which you should of course be very familiar with. The second tab is the tables tab. This is where all of the information like your account your chart of accounts is kept, your list of entities, classes, departments, things like that. We download those from QuickBooks Online and populate all these tables so that when you're, in this case, completing a journal entry, you can just look up the account number rather than copying directly from QuickBooks Online and trying to paste in here, or making sure that where you're typing in an account number or account name, you've included every space and quote and everything exactly like it is listed in QuickBooks Online. This is actually one of the features that's pretty unique to LeftBrainLogic tools. Most tools, again, require you to either copy and paste the exact account name or the exact entity name, and if you don't get it exact, it's going to kick it back and refuse to post to QuickBooks Desktop or online. All LeftBrainLogic tools actually download a valid list of accounts from your company file and then allows you to search and select the accounts that you want so you don't have to go through that copy and paste process. The third tab is, in this case, it's the JE tab or the journal entry tab. Every tool might have a unique tab. For instance, the bill posting tool has a tab called Bills, but they each will have a tab where you actually input the information that you're trying to post to QuickBooks. In the journal entry tab, it has all the information that is required to create a journal entry. So it's got your journal entry date and number, it's got all of your account and class and memos and amounts. This is where you build your journal entry. So we can go into that just a little bit more later. Right now, I actually want to go back to the Tables tab and talk to you about connecting with your QuickBooks Online company. Now I want to talk a little bit about this access code. When we were on our website, again, I mentioned that that is the key that allows Excel to connect to your company file. So I'm going to bounce back over to the website. And again, you see this access code. As I mentioned, this is required for Excel to know which company to talk to. So what I need to do is copy this access code and then paste it into the LBL access code field in your Excel file. Every QuickBooks Online tool will have this LBL access code. That is what allows it to communicate to your QuickBooks company file. On our tool, you might actually have multiple subscriptions that communicate with 4 or 5 or however many different company files you want to connect to, and each of them will have its own unique access code. So what you can actually do is have multiple online tools that you save the access code into, and then maybe rename it something for that company, and each of those Excel files will communicate with that specific QuickBooks Online company file. So again, that field is required before you can connect to QuickBooks Online. But once that field is there, I can go ahead and click on Update Tables, and it's going to reach out to my QuickBooks Online company and populate all of these tables so that we're prepared to, in this case again, do a journal entry. Before I do click on Update Tables, however, I want to just note one more thing. Before Excel can communicate with your QuickBooks Online company file, you have to be logged in to your LeftBrainLogic dashboard. If you click this file, or if you click this button and you are not currently logged in, it will open up a window and ask you to log in before it can communicate. If you happen to already be logged in, it will recognize that and just go ahead and post that information. I'm actually going to log out really quick so you can see what that looks like. So I'm just going to go back to LeftBrainLogic and log out, and then close my Internet Explorer. And you'll notice that when I click on Update Tables, it's going to just prompt me to log back in because it knows that I'm not currently logged in. So now I can go ahead and log into my account on LeftBrainLogic. So I just logged in. Now if I go back to my Excel tool, you'll notice it's waiting for me to log in. I can say OK, and now it's going to reach out to QuickBooks Online and download all the information related to the company file that I'm working with. Since we're working with the journal entry tool, I want to just quickly show you a couple features of all of our tools that we have. I mentioned that now that we have a list of all of the account numbers and the classes, the entities, since we have that list from your QuickBooks Online company file, we can now just, for instance, in the account field, I can start typing office expenses, and it will limit this down to any of my accounts that matches that, and I can select it. But in the versions of Excel that are a couple years older, it doesn't do that. As you type O, it will take you to that section of the list, but it won't limit it at all. And it's a little bit clunky to select the one that you want, especially if you have a very long list of accounts or entities. So what I've done is you can also press F5 on any of these fields, and it will let you do the same thing. So now I can type in office, which will limit the list. I can select the one I want and then select insert, which will drop it into the account field. Last, I want to just walk you real quick through what it looks like to post a journal entry, in this case, to QuickBooks Online. The process of posting a journal entry is going to be very similar to any of our other tools. It's just the type of records that it's posting. So instead of a journal entry, you might be booking or posting bills or credit card transactions or some other type of transaction to QuickBooks Online. But again, the system, the way of doing that is very similar. You generally have a list of or a table that you can enter your records into, and you have some kind of a button to push those transactions to QuickBooks Online. So in this case, I'm just going to do a very basic journal entry. I'm going to use January 1st, 2025 as the date. I can put in a journal entry number. I'm just going to put 123. A test memo. I'm going to leave office expenses there. I can select class or memo, but I'm going to leave those. Actually, in memo, I'll put in a quick note. This is a expense line memo, and in the amount, I'm going to put in $50. Now, for a journal entry, you actually have to be in balance, and this field that you see here is not intended for you to type anything into it. It's more intended for just a check for you. And so right now, because it has a positive balance in there, it's going to flash red, and that's to indicate that you can't post this journal entry yet because it's not in balance. And rather than giving a debits and credits column, I just included one column which allows you to import numbers pretty easily from other systems, but anything that's positive is a debit, anything that's negative is a credit. So to add another row, I'm just going to search for, actually I'm just going to select my checking account. I'll put in an expense line memo here too, and this time I'm going to put -50, and you'll notice now the JE balance drops to 0. It goes green, which means that this journal entry is ready to post, or at least it's in balance. So really that's all I need to enter for the journal entry. I can go ahead and say post journal entry. Get a message back once it's posted saying it was successfully sent, and I will get a notice saying that the status is okay. If for any reason it errors out, you will get a notice back. So for instance, if instead of selecting accounting here, I pasted something that does not exist in our chart of accounts and tried to post that, I get a note back saying immediately that the account does not exist in the account, and I should correct it and try to post again. So that's the basic rundown of our Excel tools for QuickBooks Online. If you have any questions, I encourage you to jump over to our website at LeftBrainLogic.com. If you scroll to the bottom, you'll see a section for Contact Us. Go ahead and complete that information and submit it, and we'll get back to you right away.